Hi guys, this is my first video on this channel. So the main motive behind creating this channel is I will be sharing my learnings, and I also will be documenting my learnings and share it with you guys. So let's start. So today we will be focusing on how we can create our database Postgres database backups, and how we can actually restore the whole data. So why do we need backups? So in case your database hardware fails, or your data may get corrupted, or you need your or you are just or you can think like you are migrating your database, so you need the backups, right? You need to restore it. So how we can do this? So today we will be learning that. So I will be doing all the tasks inside my Docker desktop. Here we can see that we are given a terminal. So first thing we need to do is we need to pull an post we will be pulling an Postgres image. So I can pull the Postgres latest image. It will take some time, don't worry. So we have successfully pulled the image. So for checking if we have successfully pulled the image or not, we can write down the command docker images to get the Postgres. Yes, we can see that we have created an image. We have pulled an image actually. So now what we have to do is, now we will be running our image inside a container. So what we are doing is we are just putting environment variables, like we are putting the password and the username. Password will be Postgres and the username will be Postgres also. We are keeping it same, and we are actually exposing the whole container on port 5432. It's the default port for Postgres, and we are naming it PostgreSQL. And now we will be running the container. So we get the container ID, we can see that. And if you go to the containers, we can see that PostgreSQL, our container, is running successfully. So now what we need to do is we need to get into our container, and we first thing we will be doing is first we will be creating some data. So first we will go into our container, and inside the exec is where we can run our shell commands inside our container. So you can also run it using docker exec, then the container name after. You can run the whole thing, or you can do pretty much everything in Docker desktop. You don't need to prefix docker exec every time. You can just write down the commands that you need to write. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to create an database. We can actually see that using the Postgres user, we have entered inside our Postgres shell. So now what we have to do is we have to create a database. We will be first creating a database. The command is create database. Create database, and it will be, I will name it db, just db. So we have successfully created a database, and inside db then we need to connect with our database /c db. So now we are connected to our database db. Now what we need to do is we need to create a simple table. So what we are doing, we are actually creating a table, superhero names. It will be including the superhero names inside our table. So we have created the schema of our table, and now we have to put actual datas. Yes, so we have successfully inserted 2 rows into our table. So to check that, we can run the command select star from superheroes, and we can get the two superhero names, Batman and Superman. So now what I will be doing next is I will get the backup of this current database, and I will create an snapshot, the current snapshot, and then I will be deleting the container. Okay. So after deleting the container, all the data as we all know, containers don't persist any data. We have to uh, use volume mounts or bind mounts to actually store the datas, to persist the data. But we won't be doing that. We will be restoring the whole data using our backup files. So how we can create the backup? So I need to just quit the connection, so we can see that we are now into our Postgres shell. So first we need to create a folder. So we have successfully created a folder using mkdir, and then what we did is first we need to set the environment variable. Environment variable will be our Postgres password. So we can see the docker run command. Inside docker run command uh, we have used Postgres as our password. So just like we are keeping it, and then we need to use the pgdump command, and we need to also mention the username, which is also Postgres, and then we need to specify the database name, which was db, and we need to set the file name. So what will be the file name? It will be inside backup folder, and then we need to specify the dump, this will be the dump name, date, and then we are putting the date. Like we have to first, what we this is years, this is months and day, this is actually the timestamp of the current backup. It is a good practice. So now we need to check if our backup is actually inside the backup folder or not. So how we can check? We can put down the ls command. We can see our backup folder. First we need to cd inside our backup, and then if we yes, we can see that inside our backup folder, this is our dump, this is the snapshot of the data. So right now this backup file is stored inside our container, and we also know that if we restart our container or we delete this container and then restart this, our backup file will be deleted, because we all know containers cannot persist the data. So we need to copy this data from our container, and we will be moving this file in from our container to our local PC. Okay. So how we can do this? We can do this using docker cp command. So first we need to put the docker cp command, then we need to put the container id. So the container, how we can get container id? First we need to get the container id. Sorry, it will be ps, docker ps. Then we have to get the container id. Then we need to run docker. So what we are doing, we are actually using cp command. Using cp command, we are moving this file, this dp dump.sql, the backup snapshot, we are moving into our local PC. So if we run this, and we have, you can see that we have successfully copied our data, and then we need to check inside our this command. We need to put ls, and using ls we can see that, yes, you can see that we have the database dump. This is our file. So we have successfully stored our file into our local PC. But in production use cases, you won't be storing the database snapshot into your local PC. It will be inside your S3 bucket, or if you are using any CSI drivers for your Kubernetes, then it will be in that volume mount. So we will be covering that in our next videos. But right now, for simplicity, we are actually storing the backup files into our host PC. So now what we can do, we can actually delete this container. I'm just removing this container. You can see like we don't have any containers right now. Now we have successfully deleted our container. If we run the docker ps command, we can see that no container is running right now. We have successfully deleted the postgres database container. So now what we need to do is we will be creating our container again. If we go back to our container, like we had this, we will be running this again with the same username, same password, and the same port numbers. We can see that container is running again. Now what we need to do is right now the file is inside our local PC. Now we need to move our file again into the container. So for checking that, you can go into your container. We can see that exec or files. You won't seeing any backup folders or anything. So what we need to do is we will be using the docker cp command again, and then for this time we will be moving our file from our host PC to our container. So now we can see that what we are doing, we need to move this file. This file is inside our this directory, this current directory, and we are moving this file from our current directory to our container. So inside this is the container ID, and inside this container, inside the backup folder, we are actually moving this folder. So now, okay, so I did a mistake. We cannot first we need to create our backup folder, so we can actually use the docker exec command, and then we can use mkdir. We need to create the backup folder. If we go into our file, we can see that this is the backup folder we have created, and we will be running this command again. If we now click this, we can see that we have successfully moved this file from our local host to container. Now what we have to do is we need to restore every data. So how we can do this? We can do this using there are two ways. You can use pg restore, or you can also use psql shell to do this. Now what we need to do, we need to restore our database. So first we need to create the same database name. So how we can do that? We can use it using the psql command, psql username, then it will be the postgres user. So we are inside the postgres shell, and now we need to create a database. We will be creating the database name, and we will be keeping it same as the previous one. So we have successfully created the database, and if we want to see if the database is created, we can see that our database name db is created. And now what we can do is we can actually exit the connection. So now we need to run the now we will be restoring the backup. So we can see that we have successfully restored our database. So using the psql command, the psql, and then we used the postgres username, and then we have specified our database, and then we have mentioned our the snapshot. This is the snapshot file, and then we are restoring it using this snapshot file. And now we need to see like if the data is already if we have successfully restored our data or not. So how we can see that? First we need to get into our Postgres shell, PSQL Postgres, and then we need to connect to our database. So what was the database name? DB. It was DB. So we are finally connected with our database name DB, and now we need to see like if the data is there or not. So what we need to do is select star from, I guess the name was, now we can see that we have successfully restored our data. You can see that Batman and Superman, the two tables, were previously there, and we have successfully restored our data. Congrats if you made this far, and go share it with your friends, and never forget to chase your dreams.